Hi, I'm Bob. That's Eric. And that's Spencer. And we're sitting here in front of our house in Sag Harbor, New York. We bought the house about 2.5 years ago, went through an extensive renovation. The house had been in the same family for about 150 years. I think the reason we approached the project is because we've had a connection to this town for, 12 years. We've loved the town. The town's actually been good to us. We saw this house and just felt that there was an enormous challenge that we wanted to accept, and we fell in love with it in the process. In doing the renovation, we wanted to keep as much of the authenticity as possible. This chest of drawers had been the law files of the husband of the woman that we bought the house from, and I saw them and I said, guys, let's bring them over and turn them into our chest of drawers. This is, old wood that was then made into, closets. These are little index cards that had been thumbtacked into the front of the files. So, miscellaneous claims, written with pen and ink in the 1940s. So when we took these over, I took them out, kept them, and then framed them in this beautiful Pottery Barn frame. Those wallpapers up there were the original wallpapers that were had been used by the family before we bought it, and I had the contractors keep pieces for me, knowing that I wanted somehow to, retain the history of the house. There had been a wing here, but it was falling down, so we took it down and we rebuilt it. The nice thing is we took the stones that were in the foundation and reused them for the retaining wall that we have out there. In fact, one of the things that was most fun about doing the house was the harvesting of, wood from the attic to use for the wood down here, and the reusing of everything. It's almost, from that perspective, a recycled house in a way. As a designer, there's nothing I personally would rather do than, find this from here and find that from there. Having said that, it's a huge amount of time and a huge commitment to do so. When Pottery Barn did come to the house, and particularly in some of the beddings and, how the beddings coordinated with the furniture, it was, on the one hand, perfect and well coordinated, but on the other hand, somehow just off enough that you knew that an artist with probably a sensibility like ours, made those choices and put those things together, not in a cookie cutter way, but in a way that actually felt very special. Companies like Pottery Barn have been able to allow people to get this coordination and this great aesthetic. And even within that, there's plenty of choices to individualize it and personalize it. So I was actually really impressed by how they were able to put things together. I kind of wanted them to leave a lot of the stuff here. Every single thing we have in this house has a story to it. It has a story in time. It has a story, we got it for a great price. It was such a steal, and part of the story is what we brought into the house as well as what has been part of the house, the old wallpapers, the old beams, the old wood, the old boxwoods. And to me, I think it's what gives a house a soul. Your home is your home, and it's got to reflect, who you are, how you live, and in many ways what you want to say about yourself. Designing, decorating a home is one of the greatest self-expressions, and in a funny way, one of the most satisfying, because, we spend a lot of time in our homes.